I'm like, I'm on my way, and then.
Oh, Claudia, I think Claudia, you need to mute. Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our January State TA Day, our first State TA Day of 2024. I was thinking in my head that 2024 doesn't sound that weird, but thinking that next year is 2025, that sounds super weird. Like we're deep in the future. Anyway, we have, like I said, we have a pretty full schedule today. And shoot, I had it pulled up, but I believe Christopher is going to be presenting first, and I did see him pop on.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Ruda, I'm going to apologize. My camera is not working, and that's not just a convenient excuse. It really isn't working. So I want everybody to imagine that I'm just absolutely beautiful, and then that would work out best.
Perfect.
I'm going to rip through this pretty quickly. I'm also not a very good PowerPoint type presenter, so it'll be more verbal. But there is a PowerPoint as well, just so you have something to look at. So let me just, I'm not used to this system where we use Teams, so bear with me 1 second here. Okay, there we go. Ta-da. Can you see the presentation slide there?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So first off, I want to thank everybody for having me on the call, and thank you, Mr. Ruda. I'm with School Specialty. I'm sure most everyone here has heard of School Specialty. But School Specialty, I've been with the company about 11 years, and I've watched it morph from what it was to what it is. And what it was more of a distributor, almost like an Office Depot or Staples, where we distributed products, and the bulk of the people within our organization, in my opinion, not for repeating, didn't really understand education, whether that was K-12 education or private providers or whatever. And over these last 11 years, we built ourselves into much more of a service-based organization. And I'll give an example. My first design I did of a classroom for a client, I did in a Chili's on a napkin. Not particularly professional, but that's the way it was. And now here 11 years later, we're in a position where we have 25 interior designers. We have people who work on best practices when it comes to design, universal design, those types of things. And we've done that for every category that we cover. And so I just want to go over what we can provide to providers and what we can't. It's really a lot easier for me to tell you what we don't do than what we do. We don't do phones, we don't do computers, we don't do staffing, food, buses, or the building itself. Other than that, we do everything else, which is really nice because it allows us to talk to our clients about challenges and then meet the needs of those challenges in kind of a cross-category kind of way, because learning environments, furniture, for lack of a better term, kind of covers everything. So there's one, I'm going to just work through this real quick and tell you what I do and how I can help you. But the exciting part is when I get to me is when I get to the pricing. So let me just turn this to a presentation here real quick. And my name is Christopher Quarter. I'm a category manager, and the way our organization works is we have a local person in the state of Colorado. We actually have 4 local people in the state of Colorado who just cover that particular state. And I live in Colorado Springs, by the way. They cover the one state, but then they have to cover every category that we have. And like I said, it's really broad, from safety and security to supplies to early childhood, STEAM, PE, special needs. It just goes on. And then it starts to invert from there. The next level is a category manager, which is what I am. I have less categories than the local people, but a larger geographic area. So I cover 7 states, live in Colorado, but also cover other Western states. I'm sitting in Arizona right now, as a matter of fact. In the areas that I cover, early childhood, STEAM, physical education, and special needs. And as a category manager, I have to understand, I have to keep my foot almost like a coordinator in a K-12 district would be. I have to keep one foot in our selling organization geared towards leadership and administration, and the second foot in the classroom and understand what happens in the classroom. So I have to understand our products really, really well, and our capabilities there. Of those categories I cover, I have strength in some and weaknesses in other. Luckily, my whole 22-year career in education has been focused on early childhood and special needs, not so strong in STEAM and physical education. But then I have another layer of what we call our subject matter experts, who are basically people we have taken from the education market and now they work for us. And so I have a subject matter expert for every category, and then that subject matter expert, they just cover that one category, but then it expands more for them and they cover all 50 states. Point is that I'm able to help you look at any challenges that you have, and that can be as simple as buying number 2 pencils all the way up to designing a new school or working on pacing guides or anything like that. So the categories I cover, we have a lot of internal products when it comes to STEAM, physical ed, and special needs. We have internal products, but then we also still provide external products as well. So for example, Frey Science is ours. It's a K through 12 science program. And then we have all of the accoutrement, the stuff that comes with it, whether that's microscopes or dead animals or whatever, and live animals too, well, live plants. Some of that, it comes from us, and then we also have the external stuff because we don't make microscopes, for example. Same thing with special needs. Our proprietary line is called Habilitations, and then we have, and we also recently bought a sensory room company called Snoozlin, who makes fantastic sensory rooms. A little bit on the expensive side, in my opinion. They're used to doing sensory spaces that are in that $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 range, which I think is pretty high. But we're also able to scale that. So I'll give you an example. There was a provider there is a provider in Omaha where when COVID started, they wanted to do something for their children who were on the spectrum in terms of sensory items, but they knew those students weren't going to be there. What we did is built sensory bags for them that were $15 a student that they were able to hand out as parents came through and got other items with an instruction sheet inside that bag that told them how to use it. And that ranges from that small, scalable, all the way up through sensory corners, rooms, and we've done rooms that are $200,000. So we can fit almost any need in terms of budget and certainly in terms of goals and what you're trying to accomplish. And then, of course, we cover early childhood as well. Our primary, I don't like to use the word competitor, but is going to be Lakeshore. And they're a fantastic company with fantastic products. I think the way we can help providers the best is to do the things maybe to help with some of the things that Lakeshore can't do. But I would encourage everyone, when you have time, to go to our website, which is, of course, schoolspecialty.com. And then you can look on the left-hand side by category or subject area. You can just drop down that menu, go to early childhood, and every early childhood product that we have will pop up. And you can sort those by price. You can sort them by what the outcomes or goals are going to be. There's even a tool on there where you can compare pricing. So let's say you're looking at pre-K, little kid pencils, the big fat pencils. You can look at 4 or 5 different kinds and look at the pricing and read reviews on those as well. And it gives you, as a consumer, some power to make sure that you're buying the right thing. We also naturally do learning environments. Again, for lack of a better term, it's going to be furniture. And it's neat there because we have both proprietary lines in our Classroom Select, which the nice thing about it is it costs a little bit less. But more importantly is the supply chain on our internal stuff is way more manageable than what we get from, say, Interior Concepts. but ranging from the front desk at your location to the classrooms to the playground, we can do it all. I love doing playgrounds. They fall under PE, and there's sensory rooms and playgrounds are sure a lot of fun. We also offer customized professional development and off-the-shelf professional development. And those are scalable to whether it's just a few people or all the way up to, say, 30, 40 people. For most of this, we do not charge for it. And that's true of all of our services. So let's say, for example, somebody was going to build a new center and they wanted to furnish that center and they reached out to 2 or 3 companies. What we could do once we collected the data on what that center looked like, the measurements, what the goals were, what the budget is, we do 3D renderings of that space and then submit those to the client. The neat thing is you can then walk away. There's no charge for that. Most of the time people don't. I would say 90% of the time people don't, and 90% of the time they buy the items from us, which I think is pretty neat. It's a great way to do it, and it's given us some differentiation in the market from what our competitors do. But we have a lot of ability when it comes to learning environments. And then here's the exciting thing for me. In the K-12 space, we are partnered with a number of national co-ops that give large K-12s some buying power. Well, I've gotten permission to extend that to all the providers in Colorado who are not K-12s. And the neat thing about that is I asked my boss, I said, when you say extend that, what do you mean? He says, DPS pricing. Well, naturally, being the largest school district in the state, Denver Public Schools is going to have the most aggressive pricing structure. And I'm allowed to now extend that to any private provider or any provider in this group, which gives you some really nice purchasing power. But then there's another layer to that. Let's say, for example, you needed several of something. Well, you don't necessarily want to go on our website and purchase it, because if you reach out to me, and I'll go back to my contact information when I'm done, I'm going to give you an even better price on that. I have the ability to kind of control the pricing a little bit, as long as I don't go below our cost or there's a percentage that I have to be above it. But it's very, very aggressive pricing. Off the shelf, it's even aggressive. Here it is. It's 35% off of list price. So when you go on our website and see a changing table, for example, and it's a $100 changing table, which probably doesn't exist, but you can go ahead and lock 35% off that right away to give you a rough price. I made one error on this. It says free shipping on $49 or more. That unfortunately has been changed to $99 before you get free shipping. But luckily, the shipping cost, we've got a pretty good partnership with some of our shippers, and are able to keep that cost pretty low. And then it's 12% off on any of the furniture you see. And as far as procurement integration, I know probably most of you don't use a procurement system, but in case you do, I wanted to kind of just show you some of the ones that we integrate with. We can set up approvals, even if you're not using a procurement system. We can set this up where if you talk to me and you're already going to be in our database, but if you talk to me and say you want to be set up, what we'll do is create a login individual to your location, that when you log in, it's going to show you that discounted price right away. And it allows you to easily compare that pricing to other companies out there that you work with. And then that's it. I told you I would rip through that. I wanted to see if anybody has any questions, and then I'll say one last piece there at the end. No questions? Okay, I want to put up my contact information just one more time. Please write this down. And I just kind of want to be sort of blunt. You would definitely not take more than just a few minutes of your time, that if you're wanting to make a purchase, to ask me for a quote, simply because I have a lot of motivation to provide you guys with the most aggressive pricing possible and the quickest turnaround possible. So don't hesitate, even if you plan on buying something somewhere else, to get a quote from us, because at least then you can say, hey, I got multiple quotes and and this other company was the best deal, but it allows us to sort of compete in this market. What I would like to do next following this is through Mr. Ruda, send some additional discounts. We'll create probably a market basket for you guys. Right now, I've got someone pulling the data to show what entities like you buy the most. And then I'm going to take probably that 100 most purchased items and get additional discounting on them. It does allow you to sit and cherry pick those items, but it's a great way for us to sort of start a relationship and start talking to each other. But please don't hesitate to reach out to me, whether it's purchasing items or if you want to talk about a challenge that you're trying to meet or exceed. Because the one advantage that we have, and any company in my space has, is it's easy when you work in one location, one school, or 3-4 schools, or pre-Ks, that you get sort of a myopic view because you're so focused on that. Luckily, I have the view of not only my 7 states, but as an organization, what's happening in terms of best practices across the entire country. And I can tell you, I've seen this work, I've seen this not work. And I'll just give a really, really quick example. Had a provider reach out to me and they wanted to buy changing tables. I love to use those as an example. And the changing table they wanted, I knew that there had been a number of failures with heavier children on those changing tables. So I was able to guide them away from that. Whereas if they wouldn't have talked to me, they probably would have bought those and then had a collapse, and that could put them at legal risk and a number of other factors. So please, I'm a resource to you. The way I view it is, and here's where me attending Texas A&M, please don't hold that against me, will shine, is I believe that I'm a 12th man to you providers, and utilize me that way. And that's it. I hope I covered what you needed me, or what you expected me to, Mr. Ruda.
Yes, thank you so much, Christopher. We really appreciate you. If you don't mind sending me the PowerPoint, and I'll be sure to include that in our follow-up email, and I have your email address in there as well if anyone has any questions. Yeah, we're excited to learn more about school specialty and all the cool stuff that we can use for our quality improvement.
Excellent. And I think that you guys can really take advantage of the fact that I'm basically getting my clock cleaned by Lakeshore. It'll make me quite aggressive. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I think we're all trying to expand outside of Lakeshore these days.
Fantastic.
Cool. Next up, we have Allison Ledin.
Have a great day, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining.
You bet.
Allison, there you are. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I have a presentation which I will share with you all. Let's see here. You should be able to see my screen in a moment here. Let's see. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Allison Ledin, and I am a communications specialist with the Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing, also known as HCPF. And today we are going to be talking about the Colorado Medicaid eligibility renewals and sharing some communication resources with you all. So for some context, during the pandemic, the federal government declared a public health emergency. And as a result, Health First Colorado, which is Colorado's Medicaid program, and Child Health Plan Plus, known as CHIP, suspended eligibility renewals, and membership increased by almost 500,000, from approximately 1.2 to 1.7 million members, as people lost their jobs and their corresponding healthcare coverage. Last year, the federal government ended the COVID-19 public health emergency, and states returned to their regular eligibility renewal processes. Between May 2023 and April of 2024, all 1.7 million Colorado Medicaid members' eligibility statuses will be reviewed. This is referred to as the Public Health Emergency, or PHE, unwind. Not all members are being renewed at the same time, since members' annual renewal dates are based on the month when they originally enrolled. So after this long pause, the restarting of Medicaid renewals may be unexpected to many people. Some people may have moved, others may be new to Medicaid and not aware that renewals occurred regularly pre-pandemic. So increasing member awareness that Medicaid renewals have restarted and what members need to do in order to keep their health coverage is one of our top priorities. HCPF has been collaborating with our partners to make sure members are aware and prepared. And beginning in April of 2023, in partnership with the Colorado Broadcasters Association, we began running radio and TV spots across 281 stations throughout Colorado. And these spots were produced in both English and Spanish. Also, we've been collaborating with health plans to execute a coordinated outreach campaign in an attempt to reach members multiple times when it's their time to renew and remind them that they should complete, sign, and return their renewal packets. This process is repeated for each renewal cohort throughout the PHE unwind. And then additional coordinated outreach is also occurring for folks who are no longer eligible to help them transition to marketplace coverage. Colorado's focus is to ensure that those who qualify for medical assistance remain covered and those no longer eligible are connected to affordable alternative health coverage. In addition to this member reminder outreach, HCPF has also created multiple toolkits for our partners to use and a website for these toolkits to easily be accessed. The website page, referred to as the PHE Resource Center, contains links to toolkits with shareable messaging and materials to help members prepare for renewals by updating their addresses and communication preferences, taking action when it's their time to renew, and for them to learn about other coverage options if they are no longer eligible. The Resource Center also has links to frequently asked questions, data reporting, which is published monthly, including reports, charts, and summaries about the unwind, a renewal education toolkit to help partners better understand the renewal process, a link to sign up for our COVID-19 newsletter to stay informed, and links to quarterly webinar recordings and presentations. This webpage is listed at the bottom of this slide. Thanks to a grant, we've been able to transcreate the Update Your Address toolkit, the Take Action on Your Renewal toolkit, and the Keep Colorado Covered toolkit materials into the top 11 languages spoken in Colorado. This is in addition to Spanish and English, and materials include flyers, text for newsletters, social media, etc. So there's a lot of information in these toolkits, and we're really happy that it's available now in all of these various languages. Raising member awareness is key, and we've created materials to make it really simple for partners to help in this effort. This half-sheet flyer is a great handout to help raise member awareness about renewals. It's one of the transcreated materials, and it can be found in our Take Action toolkit. This flyer, although it's not specific to renewals, it's also available and it can be found in our Keep Colorado Covered toolkit, and it can help raise awareness about keeping kids covered. So as the PHE Unwind has progressed, we've been adding new materials to our toolkits and also making changes to the renewal process to try and simplify it. Based on feedback that we've received from our member advisory committee, we've redesigned renewal packets to make them 33% shorter with an extra emphasis on the signature page. And we've also added the Colorado State seal in color to the envelope window to help differentiate it from junk mail. HCBUF has been tracking the results of the PHE unwind and posting the results for each month to our PHE reporting webpage, which is listed at the bottom of this slide. And we know that understanding the renewal data in the context of historical information is very important. Health First Colorado conducted renewals before the pandemic, and the table on the left compares pre-pandemic renewal data to current unwind data. This table shows overall disenrollments of 47.1% during the unwind as compared to 41% pre-pandemic. The chart on the right shows the most recent month reported to CMS. 48% of the members up for renewal in December retained their coverage, while 15% were determined as no longer eligible, mainly for being over income, and 29% were disenrolled due to a procedural denial. Majority of those procedural denials are failure to return their renewal packet too. This is all point in time data reported right after the end of a renewal month. 8 months into the unwind, and we can now see pretty clearly that point in time data for each renewal month changes during the following 90 days. So this chart shows that renewals increase throughout the 90 days after a renewal month as members utilize what's known as the 90-day reconsideration period to turn in their late renewals and any missing paperwork. And I'm just going to note here that sometimes members are not finding out that they don't have their coverage anymore. Maybe they didn't update their address and didn't get their paperwork, and they go to a doctor's office and they are finding at the doctor's office that they no longer have coverage. They still have an opportunity to actually return their renewal paperwork with this 90-day reconsideration period. So this chart is clearly showing that people are finding out and returning their paperwork. On average, we're seeing a 7-point increase in renewals during these 90 days. And conversely, we're also seeing procedural denial rates decrease. So we know that people are taking action to keep their coverage. And we also know some are taking action on time and others are taking action late. So how can you help? The unwind is not over, and renewals will continue even after the unwind is actually over. I'm hoping that you all can help us to continue reaching out to members and continue to get the word out. Here are a few simple things that you can do to help keep Coloradans covered, especially for children. You can help share the messaging and resources in our toolkits with early childhood partners. They can add that messaging to their websites and newsletters, share it on social media, and download and print the flyers and hang them up in public places. Partners can familiarize themselves about Medicaid renewals by reviewing the Renewal Education Toolkit, and they can also review our frequently asked questions. They can stay informed by signing up for our COVID PHE newsletter and looking at our webinars and the materials that we have on our PHE Resource Center. And so that concludes the slides of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions? No. Okay. Well, if you have any questions, my information's on this slide. My email address is here. So if you think of something later on that comes up and you'd like to email me, please do. And I also believe that a copy of this presentation is going to be shared with you all, so you'll have access to all the slides and the links, and you'll have, at your fingertips access to all the materials and resources we've created. And together, hopefully, we can help. We have a few more months left of the unwind. So thank you so much for allowing me to present this information today. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Allison. We really appreciate you and appreciate the resources you've shared. And I know this is going to affect a lot of people. So it's important to have this information and know how to disseminate it. So we're very grateful. And yes, I have your PowerPoint and your contact information in our agenda. So we'll share it out with anyone who missed the meeting as well.
That's greatly appreciated. Thanks so much, Charles.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. All right. Do we have Rick and Monica on?
Carly, they're not going to come today. They plan on coming next month.
Okay. Whoops. We forgot to take them off. All right. Good. We just got some time back. So Emily, you can take your time then. Yep.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm pulling up my slides. So here we go. All right. Hey, everyone. It's great to see you all today. I can't believe we're almost done with January, and I still have not set out my Happy New Year's postcards of my family. So here we go. Maybe it should be a Valentine's Day card next year. So I'm here to give you all the E&E update. So we have, as you can see here, 181 eligible applications and about 2.1 million remaining to award. We have 56 that are either under review or in receive status. And then you can see here of those 56 compose about 4.8 million in requests. So we're cruising along. I think we're at the point where, you know, any of the low-hanging fruit that was there that we've had in applications has been awarded. And so we continue to review applications as we are notified by councils that they're ready for review. So the next piece I have to update you all on is I know we've been promising you contracts and they are coming. So watch your inbox for that. You can work with your QRS coordinator if there's any changes you need to make to those base budgets. If you get it and you're like, oh wait, I wanted to move this around, just connect with your coordinator and make it so. Otherwise, it's what you submitted probably in 2023. So yeah, so watch your inbox for that. All right, so I wanted to give a quick update on the reminder of what consultation guides are, why they were created, and what's that there are two parts to an E&E application before it can, that need to happen before it can be reviewed for eligibility. So way back when this program started, the licensing team and Melissa Frank Williams created a process by which there was a way to review the space to determine that the space was in fact licensable and determine slots. And this is what created the consultation guide. So at this point where we are with awarding with E&E projects and applications is we need to have that consultation guide completed for that licensing portion to be done. And in order for that consultation guide to be completed, construction needs to be far enough along so that measuring can take place. So this primarily impacts centers that are doing larger projects. It can impact homes, but usually homes, it's a little more simpler from that licensable space perspective. So before a consultation guide can be done, the sheet wall would need to be up. And there needs to be, it really needs to be clearly marked any structures within that room or space or classroom or temp building or whatever it is that would reduce the amount of square footage. So when you think about that, think about cabinets, sinks, bathrooms, etc. And the point of the consultation guide is to give all of us the sense of how many slots by each group are going to be added, whether it's an addition to a currently existing program or whether it's a brand new program. So the other thing to keep in mind is depending on the project and the capacity of licensing, they may just need to wait until an original or change of capacity inspection can take place. So what I want to remind all of us, myself included, that licensing did not receive any funding or staff for E&E related services. So we I want to just keep in mind that we're really thoughtful and around what we are asking our licensing specialists to do and the timing of what we're asking them to do. So that consultation guide piece has to be, or that original inspection or that change inspection has to happen before a grant could possibly be awarded, assuming there's funding. So I know it's hard for you all because you've been chasing down paperwork, getting bids and all that good stuff. And we have to wait until the project is far enough along that that construction, that licensing personnel can go out there and make that slot determination and go over that consultation guide in person with the program. So the other pieces like shovel ready and consultation guides aren't the same thing. So a shovel ready at this point, what we're looking for is that any capital project will have started. So this is where it could impact homes if they haven't been awarded funding. They need to start whatever project that they're going to do before an eligibility determination can be made. So I just want to, I think all of us got kind of caught up in like, what's shovel ready? What does that mean? What's the definition of that? And really it depends on the site, it depends on the type of program it is, depends on what they're asking to do, what they're asking to have reimbursed. So I went through this quickly. I want to pause to see if y'all have any questions on these terms that we use and you know, why you might be getting some emails back around, hey, where is the construction at this point? Is it possible to have completed the consultation guide given the parameters outlined? So, all right. And if you have questions, you can always email me. You can always put time on my calendar. You can always come to office hours. So I'm happy if you don't want to ask them in front of, you know, 100 of your best friends. That's okay too. So the other piece that was updated when I sent you all that email, I think at the end of December, was an additional item that we want to be notified of is if there's a governing body that has received E&E before, whether it's this current round or previously, to let us know so that we can figure out the prioritization from that space. I think we want to make sure that we're supporting folks that have not ever had the possibility to access funds. I understand there are owners that own multiple sites. And so, but at this point, we really want to make sure that E&E funding is going out to, is prioritized right now by folks who have never had the opportunity to access it. So if you know of a situation like this, please reach out to me. If they're on hold and it's obvious like it's a school district or something, we got it. It's more those governing bodies that may be the same owner. And it's the only way we'd know that is by doing a search or by if licensing happened to know that when we were reviewing it. So I just wanted to flag that for you all. And we talked about this the last 2 times, but you know, especially for some of these programs that have either been awarded or we're still waiting, this is really for those programs that have been awarded. They're having a hard time maybe completing the project they thought they would, or they worked with their coach and their coach wants them to prioritize, you know, materials for the outside or something. You know, just come to office hours, let's talk about it. Just, you know, make sure you update the budget if it's a big significant change, particularly if it's a change between category types. And if it's a change for capital project, it really needs to align to what we kind of approved before, or be really clear as to why it needs to shift. Again, it could be a licensing reason or something like that, but come on over to office hours and let's talk it through. And just be really clear as to the why of why the program would need to change their budget or their scope of the project that was previous, or the budget or application that was previously approved. All right, so I know we've been promising you these guides, and they really are close to being done. We do want to send them out to everybody from the office hours group to like take a look at it, provide feedback, give feedback to Rick. We also plan to repurpose office hours, I think in March, to kind of do a training and overview of it. As I mentioned, with Monica and Rick, they're going to come next month and give a really high level overview of what's in these guides. We've partnered with licensing as well within our department to make sure that there's nothing conflicting there or that we refer out to the appropriate resources. I'm really hoping that these will be a great tool for us as a department and as a community going forward. So I think you'll find them really helpful. So this is also my time to ask if you are on this and you want to be on the office hours invite. Let me know. I know I'm going to add one person. I'm going to try to add everyone all at once because I realize whenever I add someone or take someone off, everybody on the list gets it again. So for those of you who get all these E&E office hour invites from me for the past year, thank you for your patience. We're just continuing to add and take folks off as their roles may shift or as, or people come on. We're a really great group. We'd love to have you. We'd love to welcome you. And there's no stupid questions, so don't be embarrassed. I know this program's been going on for a while, and I also know that every application is its own application. So it helps to be able to talk that through and learn from each other. So don't hesitate to come. And with that, that's it. So yeah, you'll see also CC'd on emails. We were able to hire our temp, and I know you guys got it. All the councils got an email on it. We have Danielle Santiago Berman on our team now, and so I've been including Danielle and Bonnie and Christy and then your QRIS coordinator, because we're all kind of doing all hands on deck to try to make sure we can support you and get you answers and responses as quick as possible. So the CC list is large, and don't worry, it's okay to reply all on these situations. So I know we're all sensitive to that. Okay, I'm going to stop presenting and see if there's any other questions that you all have, that either something I talked about or something I did not talk about. Okay, you know where to find me. Remember, in my signature block, you can book 30 minutes with me. It links to my calendar. There's also the form to submit or email any of us to let us know if you think an application's ready to review. So, thanks.
Thank you, Emily. See you at office hours. It's been officially endorsed by Daisy. I definitely trust her, so show up to office hours. It'll be fun. All right, we have an old friend returning for this meeting. So let's all welcome back Eva.
Hi, thanks. So nice to be welcomed back. Thanks. It's nice to see everybody again. I actually have a little cameo really quickly of a really cute small human next to me here. His name's Akoda. Yeah, so we're having some fun trying to do a little juggling here today, but that's okay. He's being a nice little partner. I think we maybe are slightly ahead of schedule, which is good because I squeezed in to the agenda last minute here. So
yeah, you feel free
to
have you on here until 2. So take some more time if you need.
Okay, great. Let me share my slides here. I just have a couple of quick updates from the EQ initiative, and I wanted to say thanks to Leah for stepping in while I was out on maternity leave. So I think she was able to chat with you guys at least one of the state TA days. So I thought I only had 5 minutes, so everything's on one slide, so kind of apologies for that, but I'll just review some of this stuff really quickly. First, quarterly reports are due, as you all know, at the end of this month, so next week on the 31st. For EQ this year, we're really just kind of collecting information on our coaching data using our new Smartsheets form. I am asking folks that if you didn't run a course in the fall or you're not planning to run a course this spring, to please submit a budget revision to me so that we can kind of shift some of those funds around, and that way we're not kind of stuck at the end of the year thinking like, oh my gosh, how are we going to spend down? That gives us time to do a little bit more planning and just to be a little bit more equitable with the funding. So just wanted to mention that. Ideally, and I know that this isn't always possible, but ideally you should be halfway through using your coaching hours. When I did the numbers for the last quarterly report, we were definitely not even close to being halfway there. I think we were like 11% spent down on coaching. So I just wanted to give another little nudge. Some people haven't invoice for coaching. So if you haven't done that, please do. But definitely go ahead and update your coaching hours in the quarterly report so that I can just have a sense of kind of where we are with that. So that's not on quarterly reports. There's a link there that would take you to the actual quarterly report. And I have this slide deck that's also in the agenda. So Charlie can send that out. I wanted to touch base on this statewide. We are very excited. We're kind of partnering with ECLA this year, as you all probably know. ECLA is kind of helping us to do some of the logistical planning. They helped us book the location and book the hotel and helping us do the food and that kind of thing. And then I'm still, doing the agenda and kind of helping you all with any detailed type questions. I did want to apologize for confusing information that was sent out originally around the hotel rooms, saying that we would be covering the cost of the hotel rooms. That is not the case. Hotel rooms are being reimbursed. So we won't pay for them up front. You all will pay for them, and then we will reimburse you for those costs. Many of you have budgeted some funding to support travel to the annual meeting, because typically and historically we've done the annual meeting in the Denver metro area. Some folks don't have much in their budget for that travel, if anything at all. So if you're in that bucket, we do have some additional funds that can be accessed through the GAE through PD. So if you need to have additional funds to cover the cost of the hotel, to cover the cost of meals, those are probably the main two things. You can fill out that form, and Sarah and I are going to review those. Ideally, if you can fill that out by tomorrow, that would be great, so that we can start to transfer some of that money into your invoices so that you'll have that upfront so that you can start to pay for hotels. The same thing goes if you do have funds budgeted for travel in your EQ budgets, then you can also invoice for that to release some of those funds to you so that you can then pay for the hotel rooms. So just wanted to say that we do have some mileage that's going to be available to folks through ECLA. Megan and I are working out what that's going to look like, and sort of the best way to deliver mileage. We're working out details on that right now. So, but know that we will have some funds available to support mileage reimbursement. And what else? Last but not least, Leah and I have been working on just getting a general schedule, because I know some folks may only want to send specialists for like 1 day or maybe 2 days, kind of just picking and choosing a little bit there, which is completely fine. So I did want to let you know the keynote speaker will be on May 6th. We have someone who is going to be speaking on thriving through change, since we've all been going through change over the last couple of years, but the EQ initiative in particular, because Lisa left, I moved into the new role. We have Leah also as our training specialist now. So we thought that might be a good topic, a good fit for where we are with the initiative. Not to mention all kinds of other things that we've done over the last year that have been changes, including the curriculum. So May 6th will be the keynote day, which is a Monday. May 7th, we'll talk about some of the curriculum revisions and kind of do a little bit of digging into some of those, do some question and answers and demonstrations that day on May 7th, which is a Tuesday. And then May 8th, we will take some time to talk about some of the new coaching forms that we're developing, because many of the relate items were updated in the curriculum revision. So we'll be talking about some of those updates as well on May 8th, which is the Wednesday. So just wanted to let you know, I know some folks had asked about sort of that general schedule. I will also be sending out a registration probably in early March sometime. And Leah and I will continue to develop the schedule in a more in-depth way. So that's that on the statewide. And last, and now I can't quite read that last part on my screen. Contract renewal docs with the CSQI team will be going out in February. So you'll obviously look for your EQ contract renewal documents. This year, we are asking that course plans, which historically have been due not until July, if we can have course plans come in with the contract documents in March, it would really, really, really help us with planning, especially knowing that the PDIS registration has taken longer for folks, and we also want to make sure that we're able to open courses at least 6 weeks in advance in PDIS with registration. So having things as ahead of time as possible, ideally in March, will really, really help us with just having some consistency there around some of those policy pieces with a PDIS registration of courses. So that was kind of a mouthful. I think I may have still actually almost done that in 5 minutes. So there we go. I am going to look. I'm not sure I see any questions per se.
Yeah, I don't see any in the chat right now.
Okay. Please do go ahead and reach out and let me know if you have questions. I'm going to be taking a little bit of leave in the month of February, but Leah will be around to help answer questions and do support. So if you need anything, if you could, reach out to me like early next week, that would be great. And then I will be back around in March. So thanks everybody. And I will stop there.
Thank you. So nice to have you back. Dakota is beautiful. We're happy to have him on the team.
Yay, thanks. Me too.
Awesome. All right, we're going to do a brief interlude for QRAS updates. I'm just going to talk briefly on these first couple. I don't have a slide or anything, but the links are all in the agenda. And so just to plug that, the cost estimate tool is out. So we included some links in the agenda to the tool itself, as well as an instructional video. Does anyone have anything else they want to add on to that? So just go in there and take a look when you have a chance. Also, I had a request from Clayton, and they're going to be presenting next month. But I know that there are, they're working to catch up on the ratings queue that got kind of behind during the pandemic. And mainly They've been focusing on programs that are going to expire, but there are also level 2 programs, many that are in the queue that have not rated before. And so if you have a level 2 program in your council that is just kind of itching to go, ready to rate, submitted maybe, 11 months to a year ago, and they're really like ready to do it, please reach out to Ivan. I'll put his email address in the chat, or I'm sure many of you have communicated with him at this point regarding rating scheduling. So please reach out to Ivan and let them know, so that way they're kind of putting together this watch list of programs that they can add who are ready to go. So I'll put his email address in the chat, but just something to plug. And then, oh, Ivan's here. Hi, Ivan. And Bonnie, you on? Yes, and Bonnie's back too. Welcome back, Bonnie. And you are muted, I think.
There we go. It's baby.
Yes.
This is Sterling. So yeah, I just had a quick update on stabilization bonus payments. Christy can't be here today, and she keeps joking it's the program that never goes away. But so we have, if anyone was paying attention to the JBC in September, I think it was, we had some remaining stimulus dollars that are going towards stabilization payments for providers. Providers will have to apply for those again, and we're going to be putting out like more in-depth information about this next month. We're expecting payments to go out. Sorry about that. Expecting payments to go out in March. However, over the summer, just because of the time of year, we didn't have as much uptake as we were hoping for when we had stabilization bonus payments. We want to make sure that if providers are reaching out to you as councils, yes, this is real. Yes, there is one more payment. Please encourage providers to apply. We also will be putting out press releases. So we're hoping that if someone doesn't check their emails, that maybe like their uncle will see a news article and reach out to them. So we just want to give you guys a heads up. Stabilization bonus payments are coming out. There will be more information. The other piece of this is we're also putting $1.5 million towards the health and mental health grants. Like a year and a half ago when these came out, they were a huge success. And the only caveat with these, all of the rules for both of these grants are exactly the same as they were. All of the requirements are the same. We're just asking that only providers who did not receive health and mental health before apply for that grant this round. So that's kind of my quick update. Let me know if you have any questions. And like I said, next month, Christy will be able to provide a much more in-depth update on those.
Thank you, Bonnie. And so nice to meet you, Sterling. I know we met earlier, but I don't think Troy is on here, correct? Bonnie, are you, or Brenda, are you okay presenting first?
Sure, no worries.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull this up. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. What we're going to do today, Joy and I, are going to provide you with a team update, the Early Childhood Professional Credential Team Update. And for the rest of the presentation, we'll call ourselves ECPC. We are part of the Workforce Registry and Career Pathways Unit. I am the Credential Manager. Joy is the Credential Specialist. Feel free to ask questions as we go, by the way. We are a team that extends beyond the two of us. What we do is we manage the Early Childhood Professional Credential and external training review with the two of us as your CDEC talent. And then we also have contracted vendors. And here we go. We have, this is the team and this is what we look like. Summer's being funny right here, but here we go. It's Joy and I as CDEC, and then we have Maria from Clayton, Summer and Ginny as independent contractors, and a metrics team that does the bulk of the work. Joy, by the way, supervises this team, and I try my best to answer all questions, policy and procedure related. All right, so what we're going to start with first is we're going to talk about the tax credit, just to review, because we've ended our 2023 calendar year and tax questions are coming around. And so what we want to do is just go back to what we originally stated. Basically, you have to have all three of these things in place in order to be eligible for the tax credit. Any active credential, what we did is we reported the highest credential level to the Department of Revenue during the 2023 year. That would be in PDIS 2.0 or PDIS 3.0, all levels 1 through 6. Part of the eligibility is that the individual applying for the tax credit needs to have been employed 6 months in a licensed child care center or a family child care home in that tax year. And then there's an AGI qualification as well, or eligibility as well, for singles 75,000 and for family 150. I think I can drop this link. Yeah, I'm going to drop this in the chat. And this is going to be important for those trying to find out, how do I file for this tax credit with the Department of Revenue? And it's going to restate basically on that website page everything we've shared here, and maybe a little bit more about how to get that tax credit, including the form that you'll need to fill out to attest to your employment. Joy, did I miss anything there?
No.
All right, so what did we find out? Our dear friend Elaine Mauskas, who's the PDIS manager, pulled all these numbers for us and reporting to DOR, and this is where we landed. There's a potential tax credit for early childhood professionals as a whole, Colorado early childhood professionals, of about 34 million, okay? And this is how that breaks down per level. There are different tax credit amounts by level, and you'll note that here. For level 1 credentials, 850, level 2, 1,080, and levels 3 through 6, 1,620. So what does that kind of look like? Well, this is what we reported on credential levels. And so as you can see, the majority is going to be 1, 2, and 3. Specifically, 3, when we get to 3, that could be, let's talk about job roles next. So taking a look at this, you can see the breakdown of the levels and how many were reported and that percentage here. So if we kind of break that down into what do these levels mean, we can talk a little bit about job role eligibility, okay? And when we do that, these levels equate these job role eligibilities. These are the amounts that were reported from the previous circle graph, okay? So when we think about these amounts of people that have active credentials, this is the job role they could qualify for. Whether they're in that job role or not, that would be their choice, but this is eligibility, an eligibility chart for you. I just wanted to make note, if we're looking at about 11,000 of those being a level 3 through 6, that is the potential for more director qualification, trainer credential potential, and also coaching credential potential. And I just want to throw that out there if someone's thinking about changing a job role or encouraging someone to advance within the early childhood field. All right. Elaine also ran some information by county, and this is what that looks like as far as who is credentialed or who has an active early childhood professional credential. We could not, or I could not fit all of these counties on this graph, but I will tell you, starting here with Cheyenne, starts right here, and then we move around the chart, and Broomfield would be down here at the bottom of the chart. So just an idea to just give you a different picture, okay? All right. So we got to have goals. So here's our team goals, right, Joy? So what we do with the contracted statement of work and our own personal numbers that we run, trying to figure out what can we do? What can we do well in what period of time? We landed on a turnaround time of 14 days max for early childhood professional credential review. That means that status changes from submitted to under review. There could be a period of time where we're asking for more information, but it will be from once you submit it to when we start looking at it. That's 14 days. Okay. That's our first goal. Our second goal is external training. External training is basically any training taken outside, ongoing professional development training taken outside of the PDIS catalog, and they would submit those certificates for review. And so we give ourselves 14 days from once they submit them to us reviewing those. That moves a little bit faster, quite a bit faster actually, than the credential review. And finally, our third goal is to make sure that we're responding to you timely. So we've given ourselves basically 72 hours or 3 days to return emails and voicemails from your initial inquiry. Okay. Sometimes these may hang on a little longer. We should be communicating to you and saying, hey, I'm going to find some information for you. Hang on just a minute. I will get back to you. But if a case is in progress, it has already been at least touched and communicated for the first time. Okay. All right. So you may ask, hey, Brenda, those are your team goals, but where are you guys at on this? So I want to talk to you a little bit more about the supporting information. Okay. First of all, our turnaround goal for the actual completion time to turnaround time, basically we start it, we finish it, within the 14 days, and we're getting started on it. So I just kind of wanted to see where we started. We were up here, in the 50s. I think it was like 55 or something. Graduate got a little bit bigger as far as our turnaround time. And I just want you to see that this orange line right here is our goal. And we've maintained that and been well under it since November of last year. Okay. All right. So the other thing we're watching is not only is the turnaround there, we want to make sure that what we're doing is accurate. So part of my job is to take a random sample from monthly completed applications, and I review those for accuracy. So in particular, we have a statement of work goal of 95% accuracy. As you can see, in June, when we first kind of got everybody really cranking these out, we were down here in the 80s, and then right now you can see that our audit result is maintaining 97%, and that's been since August. And a good part of that is just good communication, regular meetings, and review of standard operating procedures, and how we communicate with people. All right. Okay, this number, I just threw it out there because it's a big number and I thought it'd be just like pretty cool. Okay, so here's what I want you to know. Part of that external training that I talked about earlier, in the 3.0 system, I know it seems like, oh, you're reviewing external training. That's great. But this is how many were reviewed in the 3.0 system. Of that, this is how many were approved. Yes, there is a significant amount unapproved. The reason for that would be uploaded in the wrong place, doesn't have all the information on the certificate, uploaded for the wrong individual. There's a bunch of reasons, but I will tell you that this is how many have been reviewed and this is how many have been approved. And just a note here, while we're here, remember that anything that has to do with formal education or experience is not uploaded to external training. We only want ongoing professional development certificates not taken in the PDIS online here. All right. Ta-da! Here's where we're at. Okay. So we said our goal was 14 days. We're currently at 6 days for credential review. We're currently at 3 days for external training, although we said we wanted to get it done in 14 days. And we're at 2 days for emails and voice notes, which are hitting hard right now, right, Joy? But we're keeping up with it and we're taking care of it, okay? Again, some of this may be in progress. This is when we first get to it and we're working on it, okay? Anything else there, Joy?
About the team goals?
Yeah, or the turnaround, anything that I'm just relying on you because you're like the number one here. So I'm relying on you to let me know if I'm missing anything, okay? Are we looking good? Okay, all right. So a reminder that the 3.0 PDIS system launched in June of 2021. Prior to that, individuals might have had a 2.0 credential. What this means is that all 2.0 credentials will expire no later than June 2024. So we're watching this. This may not be an issue, but we're watching it to make sure we don't create a new backlog, okay? So I just wanted to throw this out there that if you are an individual who had a credential in 2.0, please consider submitting a new credential at your earliest, when you're ready, when your documentation is ready. And our goal here is to avoid a potential backlog in July, okay, and in June. So I just want to throw that out there. We'd love your cooperation on this. We understand you might not be ready to do it, but just thought we'd make a note of that, okay? All right. Thank you for your patience and understanding while we worked to get here where we're at. We're happy, we're comfortable where we're at. Your patience and understanding is very much appreciated. And I do want you to know that we're big fans of feedback. We throw feedback at each other every day, right, Joy? And so we'd love to hear from you if there's something that you think we should be considering or something that you think isn't consistent. You figure out what's wrong with it and you let us know and we'll address it. While we are on this slide, the opportunity to meet us face-to-face to address these things is here in this PDIS help session, okay? Joni, Candace, Sean have put together these help desk sessions so that we can answer your questions in real time. Okay, so if you want to attend those, can I actually open this? I think I can, yeah. So I'm going to drop this link here. Save it. Join us. We'd love to see you, okay, and hear what you're thinking. In the end, it's all for the field and everybody overseeing the field, and we're happy to listen to whatever you have to say. Were there any questions in chat, Joy?
No, I didn't see any questions. Just join us, please, for help desk if you have any questions or concerns. But I do want to say that it's been wonderful working with the Registry and Career Pathways Unit, and Brenda and Joni and the whole team is just wonderful to work with. And Brenda does so much and gives us so much guidance with the contracting team and with Clayton as well. So she is modest, but she is the leader of the group and we're following her lead. I do want to mention though that just to add that the in regards to the tax credit, it is not like the stimulus checks that we were receiving in the pandemic. And professionals must file taxes and be eligible for that to receive that. And I also want to just mention for the professionals who miss submitting their ECPC at the deadline, that there will be similar tax credit that will be offered in 2024 and 2025 calendar years. So the future tax credits will be based on similar eligibility criteria. So it's lots more money to be given to the early childhood professionals.
Okay, everybody know I did not script that at all. Thank you, Joy, for the compliments, and for covering me on that other information that was missed. Now you know why she has her job. Okay, thank you, everybody. Let us know if you have any questions through the PDIS Help Desk. Again, we'll get to you very quickly within 3 days, if not sooner, okay?
There is one question here in the chat, Brenda.
Oh.
If there's any way that we could integrate a reference number for providers in case they have to call back, would a reference number be helpful? I think what I would say to that, just working on the help desk, is we're able to pull up past cases very easily, searching by license number or by provider name. So all cases are tracked as soon as a message is left or an email is sent.
Yeah, everything that we say and do through email or voicemail is tracked. And so if you have a question, like a follow-up question to the same thing, just send that question back on the same email.
Mhm.
If you have a new question, please submit a new case or a new voicemail, okay?
Yep. Yeah. And Joni, yes.
Hey, sorry. I just want to go back to the help session topic real fast. If you'd like us to do a help session for your agency site, whatever it is, we're happy to put those together as well. We'll put them together with just the topics that you want to cover. So you can contact us at the help desk. I put the email address in there for all of your ECPC questions, any help desk PDIS questions, or if you want to set up your very own Couture help session.
So Joni, for example, if a program in your community is going through a rating and they have 20 staff members and half of them are confused on how to get their information in PDIS, you could set up a help session just for that center to guide them through it.
Absolutely. We love doing those. So please, yeah, even if you're not about to go through a rating, if it's more helpful to have your team discuss these issues together and help each other out in the future, whatever that may be, groups large and small are all welcome. There's no minimum attendance requirement for these.
Awesome. We really appreciate it. Seeing those turnaround numbers are mind-blowing considering I feel like 2 years ago, we were like a month out of getting back to any help desk case with PDIS. And it's amazing the work that your team has done. And we're very grateful. It's a pleasure working with your team.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Elaine, we got you going a little bit early. Hope that's okay.
Yes, it is.
Ooh, I
Hello,
hope you guys are
everyone.
ready. This is very exciting.
Yes, I am sharing more about our PDIS revamp. So if you have been following along, we are updating the look of the PDIS. So what you are seeing right now is the new PDIS home dashboard. So at our last state TA day, I did a demo of what the menu layout holds and this home dashboard. So today I'm going to walk through some of the other pages, but there's still lots to show you all. And actually, I'm going to turn my camera off because my internet doesn't always like it when I am on camera and screen sharing. But today I'm going to focus on some of the credential and qualification updates that we have. So this page that I am on right now is a combination of two pages that exist in the current PDIS. So for the current PDIS, the page that you go to see all of your active credentials and qualifications is one page, and then the page that you go to submit a new application is a separate page. In this redesign, we have combined them into one page. So you'll get to it from this credentials and qualifications menu link at the top, and this is what the page looks like. So right here at the top, this first section is active applications. So this is a demo account, so this is just an example, but this person has 4 active applications. These two, and right here you can see the status. So you get the name of the applications and the status right here. These two haven't been submitted. These two have been submitted. This one hasn't been reviewed yet, and this one has been reviewed and is under a request for more information status. So that means the reviewer has reviewed it and one of the documents hasn't quite met our criteria, and so it's been sent out and we've asked for more information. Or it's been sent back and we've asked for more information. So for any active applications, you can click these edit view buttons and it will pop up the details of that application and you can make any changes to it. And I'm realizing I shouldn't have clicked this because I'm in our sandbox and it's just a little bit slow. That is, so these are all the active applications. If you want to submit a new application, you click this button right here and it is the exact same process. So you'll select either credentials and qualitative or consultative roles and select the application you want to apply for here, or child care licensing qualifications and select what you would like to apply for here. Just below the active applications, you'll see the active credentials and qualifications. These are anything that has been approved and awarded. And so similarly, you see the name, the date awarded, expiration date if it does expire. For ECPCs, you'll see the level of it, and then you can click to view the certificate, or you can click here to see the details. So for instance, and again, this is a demo account, so this isn't real data, but if you were in your own account, you would see the breakdown of all of the points that were awarded to get to your level 3 or whatever level you have in your ECPC. If you had a director qualification, for example, it would show up right here. You could click the details and see all of the details as to how your director qualification was awarded. Additionally, excuse me, we have expired credentials and qualifications and archived applications. So expired are things that have hit their expiration date and are no longer valid. You can still view the certificates and the details. Archived applications are, I'm going to be completely honest, I'm not.
So that would be something that would have been closed based on a newer application?
Okay, thanks, Brenda.
Yeah, no worries.
And so basically this page is just like a comprehensive place for you to find all of your information on any credentials and qualifications that you have ever held or have ever applied for. But there are lots of different credentials and qualifications and lots of different ways that we score all of the different components to them. And so you might have questions about how all of this works. And we get lots of feedback on things are confusing. How does all this work? And so that's something that we're excited about with this redesign is this resources menu. And we have consolidated and organized this information into these different resource menu pages. And so one of these pages is the credentials and qualification resources. So this page is broken out into the different credential and qualification types. So this first section here is on the early childhood professional credential. There's also a section on the trainer credential, the coach credential, the director qualifications, child care health consultant qualification. So any active credential or qualification that you can apply for in the PDIS, you'll be able to find information about it on this page. And so each of these links will show different information about the credential or qualification. So the ECPC has a lot of different components. So here you can see each component: formal education, ongoing professional development, experience and demonstrated competencies. Each have their own page where the information on how that component is scored and what you need to upload is broken down. But then there's also information on trainings of special recognition. So that's EQIT and Pyramid. This external training documentation. So what Brenda was just sharing about all of those external trainings that we have to that don't get approved. If you have questions on why that's happening or how to make sure they get approved, you can come right here and click this and it will show you what is needed. You can see the score sheet. You can figure out about how appeals work. All of that information is right here section. If you want to know about the trainer credential or coach credentials, all of that information is right here. Similarly with director, you get the gist. So what we're really trying to do is make this information as easy to find and accessible as possible. And so we have it split out. So navigating the PDIS is all of the information on just how to get around the system, how to do what you need to do and find what you need to find within the PDIS. Learning and training support, this is going to be information on how do I find the required trainings, what trainings are required for my role, how do I print my completion certificate, how do I register for a course, all of that type of information will be found here. Policies, so this is going to be some policies like how do we use your data within the PBIS, but it's also going to be policies like some of the CDEC policies and things like that. So we've got lots of fun information for you here in this resources menu. Another thing that is coming that we've gotten some really excited feedback on, so I want to make sure to share with you all today, is that we are adding new employment type opportunities. So one of the main purposes from our perspective for the PDIS is to be able to have an understanding of what the early childhood workforce looks like in the state of Colorado. And so we refer to it as the registry, the Early Childhood Workforce Registry. And we know that right now the PDIS only has job roles available for folks that work in direct licensed care. And that is not inclusive of the entire workforce. The early childhood workforce has so many more roles than that. So we are adding a lot more job types and job roles. So you'll see this coming live in March sometime, but you'll see when you go to add, so you go to my account in employment, you'll get to this page. And then when you go to add a new employment, you'll see this, which looks very similar to the current way to add a new employment, but you'll see this new field for what is your employment type. And here we have a new option. So you can say you're a school or center-based care provider, a home-based care provider, and then we have all these new options. So consultative support, ECC or LCO staff, family and home support staff, school age day camp staff, resident camp, or other. And then within each of these, we have a whole bunch of job roles. So in school or center-based care, you'll see a lot of the job roles that currently exist. And so you can, again, here you can select as many job roles as you currently hold. So if you are an early childhood teacher and you work in a UPK program, but you're also occasionally a staff aide in an infant program, you can select all of those in your school or center-based care provider. But if that's not what your job role is, let's say you work for an ECC as a QI navigator, then you can select that as your employment type. And then we have all kinds of job roles for folks that work in consultative support or one of these roles. So you can see here that I'm a coach, an early childhood mental health consultant, and a reflective supervisor. So we're building in all of these different abilities to really make the PDIS more reflective of the workforce as a whole. So we're hoping that this really helps better reflect everyone within the PDIS. And I'm going to be honest, I have not been looking at the chat at all. So I will pause here and see at questions that have come up. We have how-to guides. Yes, great question, Maribel. So that is part of the reason why we kind of have the PDIS almost ready, but we're not launching it for a little while, is because we want to make sure all of those how-to guides are ready for you all. We really want to launch this in a way that it feels like we're not just like throwing something at you guys and not being supportive and not giving everyone the resources that they need to be able to use it. Our wonderful help desk and Brenda and Joy and a lot of other folks have been putting in a lot of work to get all of the how-to guides and all of this information updated so that when we do go live, there's a lot of resources available to make sure that people can use the system and navigate the system. And actually, I see that Brenda already answered that. Will LCOs populate in the who is your employer question? That is a great question. No. At this point, the who is your employer is still only going to consist of licensed programs. That is something that's like a very technical thing that we would have to update. So right now the answer is no, but that's something that we can definitely look to update in the future. What is the date of launch? That is a great question. So our anticipated release date is mid-March. We don't have a firm date yet, but as we get closer, we're gonna communicate a firm date when we have it. But right now we're anticipating mid-March. Lisa.
Thanks, Elaine. I may have missed it, but where you have what your employment type is, and you have in this case the consultative support, are there other council-related roles?
Yes, so we have council director, council coordinator, QI navigator, career navigator. We've got quite a few roles here, but that actually leads me to one thing that we are also launching with this is we're going to have a feedback survey. So it's right here in the footer. So it'll be across almost all of the pages. And it opens up just this really simple survey about any changes or updates that you would like to see in the PDIS. And if you want to, you can put your contact information. And this is more if we have any questions about the feedback that you've shared with us that we'd like to clarify, we could reach out to you and ask them. But other than that, we wouldn't really need to contact you. So the name and email address is optional, but we really want to hear from you all and make sure that the changes that we're making are actually helpful.
Yeah, I was just curious because I find that it's not uncommon for roles to be multiple for a person. And so it really depends then on what the goal is in terms of council or potentially LCO work to collect what is the data we're wanting to collect out of that. So if we're just looking for a primary role or whatever, and then, you know, like the idea of selecting the multiple components, that's helpful. But it really comes down to what it is that's helpful in terms of our workforce to know. I just know the multiple role thing for council staff is not uncommon.
Yeah, and so you can only select one employment type, but you can select as many job roles as needed within that employment type. Though we know that people do hold multiple employments. So let's say you work for an early childhood council, but then you also have your own consultative practice. You could add 2 employments, like two separate employment records to make sure that it's all captured.
Yeah, I think it's at the higher level piece there that I also think we have that challenge with selecting. So this is the consultative support drop down, but when you go back up and you're not in consultative support, but you're still selecting something related to council work, that's what I thought I just understood you say. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and this is the only council line that we choose, then it's less of an issue. I
Yeah,
was
so
thinking you took me back to a place where there were more options, like a director of a council or.
so this would be if you have a council role, it would be this is the employment type you select, and then you could select,
Then all of those are the drop down. Thanks for the clarification.
of course.
Sorry. Mhm.
No, that's totally fine. And once this is live, I'd love for folks to play around with it and share their feedback. And if we need to make adjustments, we can figure that out as we go, because we know that this isn't going to be perfect.
Sure, it's going to be too hard to get it perfect.
Maribel?
I have a couple questions. So my first one is for who's your employer. If you add an LCO, can you add it manually and then will it show in your employment tab?
Let's try. So let's say Denver 30. So you can add other, and then it will give you an open text field. And so that's how you would do it.
Okay. And then like if you exit out there and it says right there at the bottom, like if you exit out that box, when it says verified status and you're working in an LCO, would that never be verified, or is the like CFO or anybody else going to be able to verify that status?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think that is kind of a next step for us, is figuring out, we want to be able to expand the PDIS to better serve the whole workforce. And it was built initially to serve the direct care workforce. And so I think that's something we need to figure out, is how do we, now that we've built in these additional job roles, how do we build in that additional functionality? And so right now we don't have that, that hierarchy of like director to employees like we do in the direct care workforce for these other employment types. But that's a really great note, and that's definitely something that we'll put on our enhancement list to think through and figure out the process for.
Okay. And then when an employee tries to add their employer, is that director or anything going to get a notification that some employees trying to get their hours verified, or if they've been added to their list of employees?
Yes, definitely. I'm logged into a user account, not a director account now, but directors on their home dashboard have a widget right here at the top of their employee list, and any new employees will have a button right here that says verify that will prompt the director right on their home screen to verify new employees.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Of course. And Joni, I saw that you raised your hand a few times, and I know you might have some additional insight to share.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt Maribel though, so I put my hand down. Just make sure that you check for your site first, especially if you work at a licensed site, and don't use that other button, because then it doesn't link to the correct site and directors cannot verify folks. So others should only be used if you've absolutely looked in there for the correct site name first.
Yeah, if you do work for a licensed program, it will be in here. So make sure to use this search. If you don't work for a licensed program, that would be the only time that you would use the other option.
And you can always ask the help desk. We're happy to look by your director's name at how the site is listed in there if it's not obvious at the beginning.
Thanks, you, Joni. Go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about all of the recruitment that we're doing and the amount of courses that those individuals are taking in PDIS before they actually have their license. Some of them might have a license number, but they don't have the actual license open yet. Others may even be before they have submitted an application to receive a license. So I'm curious, in that case, they're just going, can they put that they don't have an employer?
Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then correct it when they get to that point.
Right.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Maribel.
Sorry. I know that providers do struggle on claiming their own business and becoming a director on there. Do we know like the steps on how they're going to be able to claim their own business on PDIS?
So for that, you would reach out to the help desk, and they will be able to grant anyone director status. And director status, I'm realizing that's a technical term that is not clear to everyone. That's kind of a checkbox on the back end that gives you access to see all of the employees at the program and give you some of that higher level access to manage things. So what's basically needed to get that status is to be listed as the director on the licensing side. So as long as you are the director and that's all lined up with licensing, our help desk is able to confirm that and able to grant you the right access. So just send in a ticket to the help desk. And all of that help desk information is also right here at the bottom. In the current PDIS, there is a help desk page that also has this information. So you can get to it still before this launches. If you go to the current PDIS menu, which is a little hamburger in the top right, there will be a help desk page that will tell you how to access this. But if you reach out to the help desk, they can give you the right access. Okay, and then the last thing I want to show everyone is the whole other side of the enhancements that we have done here is to the learner home and the learning side of the PDIS. And so the development work on this is still being finished. So I'm not going to do a demo of it today, but we wanted to just give you all a sneak peek. And of course, as I'm saying, the development work is not finished. We've got these fun little pop-ups here. But this has never happened before. But here is a little sneak peek of what the new learner home is going to look like for you all. So we've got a fun new graphic at the top. These little weird windows will not be there. But next month's State TA Day, we will walk you all through the learner home and what you can expect to see with the learning side of the PDIS once it's released. Any questions from anyone?
Thank you so much, Elaine. We're so excited about this. I know you guys have put a ton of work into this, a ton of hours, and I know a lot of people have contributed. So
yes,
super excited. We hope you guys attend some of these sessions where you can learn more and you can contribute, roles and things like that. So I do want to hand it over to SSBI so we don't run out of time for them. So Marika, I see you on here. Thanks for coming. And thank you again, Elaine.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Megan LeClaire. I'm in the State Systems Building Initiatives Unit at CDEC, and I'm joined by Marika Padilla and Nami Basine. We're going to go through a couple of things for you all. So I'll be dropping tons of links in the chat, but we'll share the slide deck with Charlie after this as well. Okay, so we have some preschool development grant birth through 5 updates. And first, I'm going to talk about the local organizational capacity work. So some of you know, because you participated in some of these events last year and are still a mini grant recipient from the local organizational capacity regional convening work. And so this is a reminder, but with the preschool development grant birth through 5 planning grant, which was the bucket of money that we were awarded for the 2023 calendar year that funded this local organizational capacity work, has received a no-cost extension. So we are still working within the same bucket of money through 2024. And so because of this, local teams that were a part of the regional convenings and mini grant recipients have until the end of March of this year to complete your planning and deliverables. So as you know, because we sent an email a couple of weeks ago, but just a reminder, savings from 2023 allowed us to offer each local team that participated in the regional convenings an additional $1,500 towards their planning mini grant. So if this is you, if you are an LOC grantee, please send us your revised budget if you have not already done so. That includes the additional $1,500. Please send that to myself and Marika as soon as possible. And our email addresses I'll put in the chat at the end of our presentation. So any questions on the LOC regional convening mini grantee work that we covered? Okay, I'll turn it over to Marika.
Thanks, Megan. Hi, everyone. I have a few quick updates on the SBDC Childcare Business Training. So we have 2 upcoming trainings here in February. I just checked, and the Larimer SBDC training, the registration is at capacity right now. And I also checked the Pikes Peak SBDC training, and they have 38 seats left. So if you know a home-based provider who's looking to get some support on the business side of their childcare, please have them register for the Pikes Peak SBDC training. And I didn't include that on this slide, but Boulder SBDC has a Spanish language training coming up at late February, and I'll get the information out on that as soon as I have it from the SBDC. And then we have an exciting announcement. You may have seen some Save the Day flyers and some newsletters going out this month. But on April 27th, along with Southern Colorado SBDC and the Pueblo Early Childhood Council, we are hosting our 3rd annual Southern Colorado Early Childhood Business Conference. It will be going from 9 to 3 at the Pueblo Community College. It's free. It's for childcare providers to come and get some resources, learn information from local organizations and state agencies. We will be including breakfast and lunch. And providers can also earn up to 4 hours of PDIS credit at this event. So there's a registration link. There's a QR code on the screen. Please spread the word to providers who might be interested. We're inviting providers from all across the state to attend. Last year, we had providers drive all the way from Grand Junction and Weld County to Pueblo on a spring snow day to learn some business strategies and information. So please share this with anyone in your network that you know that would be interested. And then I won't spend too much time talking about this. I just sent an email during this meeting to those councils who support the SBDC business training with the 2024 updated documentations and links to the prior approval form. I do want to highlight the council and the SBDC contact form here on this slide. Megan dropped the link in the chat. Please go into this document and update your council information. There's been some changing in staff, so just to make sure that the SBDCs have the most current information if they're looking to reach out to our council, and I'll have the SBDCs do the same in the next week's quarterly meeting. They'll go in there and update their information so that everyone has the most up-to-date contact info. And if you have any questions about the billing or the invoicing for 2024, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And if you are supporting the SBDC training and you didn't get my email during this CTA meeting, please let me know and I'll send you the information. And then just a quick highlight on some really great useful business resources we have created using the PDG funding. We have the business guides for early care and education providers, and we have the employer-based childcare feasibility and assessment guide that we created in partnership with EPIC, with executives partnering to invest in children. And Megan is typing all those great links in there. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And I quickly want to highlight transitions to kindergarten marketplace that we have created. Again, using with PDG money, there's lots of resources, over 20 resources that support communities' transitions to kindergarten work. And we did not realize that there was a conflict with the council's schedule when we scheduled the webinar for January 18th. So if you go to the marketplace, you also see that there is a recording for the webinar, so you can go back and watch that. And when you click into the Transitions to Kindergarten Marketplace, I wanted to highlight that the Marketplace for All, that link is open for anyone to access those resources. So it can be a family member, it can be a provider, council, LCO, school district. Those resources are available to everyone. And when you go in there, you see that there's also a folder that is for those teams who attended our October 2023 Transitions to Kindergarten Summit. That folder is accessible only to those teams who came to that summit. There's some files that some of the teams uploaded there during the summit, so we wanted to keep that access open only to those teams who came to the summit. And then quickly, there is a link to request print copies of some of the Transitions to Kindergarten resources. So right now we have printing available for the roadmap and the Supporting Children with Special Health Conditions resources. So if you think that you could use some printed copies of these resources once you go into the marketplace and explore, please send us a request and we will do our best to accommodate your print request. That was a ton of information in a really short time. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me, or if you have any quick questions, I can address those right now. Okay, I'll pass it to my colleague, Nami.
Thanks, Marika. Hi, everybody. I'm Nami Vasin. I am a PDG B5 grant administrator, and I'm here to chat with you briefly today about in-state travel plans. If you'll recall, a couple of meetings ago, Kristen Lang was here and asked you all to fill out a questionnaire about, if we were to visit with any of you all, what would you like for us to discuss? And so we heard a combination of, well, we'd like to share what we're doing with you, meaning you all would like to share what you're doing, and then you all would like to hear from us about what we're doing. So in the spirit of compromise, we decided to do a little bit of both. And if you could advance to the next slide, please. We also know that the needs assessment update is nearly complete. It's in the final stages of clearance at this moment. And so in addition to that, the statewide strategic plan is also nearly complete. And as easy as it would be to simply email those reports to you, that would simply not be effective. And so we decided that our travel plans would operate around sharing those documents with you. And we also identified some other really important needs. Connecting with established partners like yourselves, but also connecting with populations with whom our department has not historically been connected. We wanted to learn what strategies maybe in the strategic plan are already being worked on locally and could be scaled with our support. And what strategies have been tried and maybe have not worked, and so maybe we ought not to invest in those. We'd like to have some more partner conversations about, a challenge that's really been a conversation of the department around collective accountability. So at no point did we in the strategic plan impose accountability on any partner, because that of course robs partners of ownership and motivation. And also we don't have that authority, right? If we tell the CDPHE that they should do this strategy, they're just going to laugh at us and say, okay, Mary. So we decided that that's just not going to work. And it felt really important for us to advance our knowledge of what it's like to raise children and be a part of a family throughout various portions of the state in order to build, better and more equitable practices into our own work. And so if you are amenable, we'd like to visit some of you throughout the state and discuss the strategic plan. Prior to doing that, we'd like to have virtual visits with you to talk about the needs assessment. And in those conversations, we hope you'll invite other partners who we haven't met. Visit in person after that to talk collective impact and discuss how to advance strategies and in a way where we are all accountable rather than nobody's accountable. And of course, vary the geography of where we visit so that, again, we can build some equity into our plan. And if you could advance the next slide, please. In addition to that, we would like to have, while we're out in the community, family gatherings where we'd attend gatherings where families are present in the communities that we visit, have the opportunity to make personal and ongoing connections with people who live in those areas, observe and better understand, as it says here, what it's like to raise a family in that part of the state, really get a sense of what community assets are in those regions. So, a soccer coach can be a community asset, a locally formed, informal group could be a community asset. And then for us, reflect on what adjustments we need to make in order to do better work when we get back to the CDC, because we're just city slickers trying to do our jobs and work with rural areas. If you could advance to the next slide, please. Thank you. So that in a very quick nutshell is the broad overview of the plan is really to visit with you all, first virtually, then in person, talk about the strategic plan, the needs assessment, and then reflect for ourselves on, what we observed, what it's like to be raising a family in your area. And for you, I have these questions here. What is your initial reaction to the plan? What questions would you encourage our leads to focus on for self-reflection? And really, the third question is about pitfalls, but what actions might we take that could make or break trust during these visits? Happy to hear your responses now. Thank you, Megan, also for sharing the link to the Google form where I've asked the same questions so that you can answer in your own time. Thank you so much.
Any other questions for SSBI? All righty. Well, we are right at time. Thank you all. We got tons of information. I told you, lots of good news, lots of cool stuff heading our way. I hope everyone stays warm through our next meeting until February. And thank you all for the important work that you're doing for the kids of Colorado, for the families of Colorado. You're all very appreciated. So thank you all. Have a wonderful day.